great thing about starting a new business, you got to start without a fear. I had no fear of failure. I just went into it, believing I can do it. It was a great fun journey, but you have some challenges along the way, but that's life.
You're listening to Titans of the Trades. I'm your host, Ryan England, author of Hire Better People Faster and creator of the CoreFit hiring system, a proven process to help growing companies attract and retain only the best. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the perception of the trades and elevate it to new heights. After growing up in a blue-collar family, my passion for making the trades cool again runs deep. If you're a titan in the industry and want to be on my show, stick around until the end and I'll reveal how you can be my next guest. I'm your host, Ryan England, and today's episode, we get to sit down with someone who started a business on the family farm 65 years ago and today has over 100 employees. The children are running it and they're getting ready to transition it to the third generation. So if you have ever thought about how to transition your business into family, you do not want to miss Elvin's story. Get ready for just amazing story with humble beginnings, where we get to learn about some of the trials and some of the challenges that he had overcome as he grew his business so that they could celebrate over 65 years in business. I want to introduce on today's show, Elvin Hurst with Kountry Kraft Cabinets. Elvin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I am so excited for you to share your story with our listeners today. It's a long journey from where your humble beginnings to where you're at now. Can you give us a quick overview of Kountry Kraft, how it got founded, and how a Christmas gift changed everything for you guys?
Yes, well, I will do that. I started... First of all, my background is agriculture farming. So that's where I got my education on knowing how to work and how to manage and how to buy and sell and how to make things work. Even though it was difficult, you got up and went every day. No matter what the weather was or what you felt like, you had to get up and milk the cows 7 days a week. So in the kitchen business, I only had to do that 6 days a week. The way I started, I always liked woodwork. On the farm, we did our own carpenter work, and our own mechanical work, our own whatever we had to do to keep a farm running. And so I worked part-time in the winter for a local contractor building houses. And so I had an education in woodworking, construction. And then as a farmer, I had a dairy farm. My parents, Reuben and Mary Hurst, had a dairy farm. That's the farm where the Kountry Kraft is today, is on the home farm. And so I was very fortunate to have a place to start my business in a 4-car garage. But the way I started working part-time for a local kitchen company called Rich Made Kitchens. And I worked there 6 months. And Helen bought me a table saw from Sears and Roebuck, Craftsman saw, for Christmas in 1958. And my boss learned that I have a saw, that I'm doing some little furniture building at home. And he called me in the house and he said, that's not permitted. If you work here, you cannot do woodwork at home. So I was shocked to learn that. So I came home, told my wife I quit my job, and I'm going to start making cabinets in the garage. So my father, being an electrical contractor, he had some contractors he was working for, local. So he was my first salesman. He introduced the local builders. He told them that his son is going to start building kitchen cabinets. So he sold my first kitchen in New Holland, Pennsylvania for $750 in 1959. So
wow.
We started in a garage in 1959, very small. My wife supported me from the beginning. She was my equal partner. Her name is Helen. Helen was my partner. She did the bookwork. She did the purchasing. and design work, and I did the manufacturing and the sales after my father got me started. But we started very small in a garage. So it was a
I love that.
very slow start, but it was all done with people. You know, I had good people surround me. I had my parents, my brothers and sisters. They all helped me get started, and I was blessed with good employees and good customers and good suppliers. And
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So you start on the family farm in a garage in 1959, and now you're still in business, still family-owned business. Yeah, I believe your children are running it now.
Children now, I have Dale, Dolores, and Junior. I have 3 children.
And how many employees do you have now?
Right around 100. Yeah.
100 employees.
100 employees.
Well, I have to ask this question because I don't know if you've heard, but there are a lot of people out there that are saying hiring people is one of the hardest things to do. It's something I'm incredibly passionate about. How do you, with 6 decades, I mean, we're talking 60 plus years in the industry, how has Kountry Kraft maintained a commitment to quality, like still providing the same level of service, being a great supplier, a great manufacturer of these cabinets? How have you been able to do that, knowing that not only has technology changed, but the job market has changed, the generations have changed? What are some things that have worked for you?
Well, what's worked for me is we hired a lot of people local. My first set of employees were mostly farmers in the local area. Again, they had the same work ethic that I did. They knew how to work. And as we grew, when we hired new people, once you train one person and you hire new people, you always put them with a trained person. Look like the airlines. You first become a co-pilot before you're the pilot. So you get the pilot to train the co-pilot. And that's what we do, put people alongside of trained people, and they train them. So we get on-the-job training as to how we build our company and how we get new employees. And the way we attract new employees is because we have happy employees that encourage new people to come here. So it becomes a big family.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah. So I like to call that being the employer of choice.
Yeah, employee.
Right? People get to choose to work for you. They get to choose to stay. Yeah. And it sounds like you've really created a great, what I would call an apprenticeship program, right? Like as long as you've got strong work ethic and you've got quality skills, we're going to teach you how to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're willing to work and you like what you're doing, well, we can train you how to do it. You know, that's not that hard. If you take one step at a time, you can learn it.
So you have done something very successful that I know a lot of business owners struggle with, and that is transitioning a family-run business to the next generation. For a lot of people, it can be very challenging. I'm sure you even had some challenges, some ups and downs with it. How did you prepare Elvin Jr. and Dolores to take over the company? And what values have remained central throughout that transition? Like, what was it you had to pour into them so they were ready to step up and lead?
Well, they had the same commitment as I had, and that is to give a customer quality product, good service, on-time deliveries at a fair price. They had the same principles. So they grew up with me. They grew up in this factory, you know, my factory. As I sit here looking at you, I can look over top of you and look at the house where I grew up. I'm right here in the farm right now. So they grew up in the factory. So they learned the work ethic. They learned our principles. They learned our work ethic, or what we want to end up with, and that is that we want to end up treating customers with the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and they had the same principles. And so when we were ready to transition, why, they were more ready to get in than I was ready to get out, because I loved this work, I loved this business, but I mainly stepped back so they could step forward while they were ready to go. So
What
they all,
advice would you have for someone who's in a family-run business and they're ready to transition it to that next generation? Is there one thing or two things that you learned that you're like, I wish I would have done that sooner, or hey, everyone should do this?
say that again.
So as you transitioned it to them,
Yeah.
what advice would you have for other entrepreneurs that are thinking about transitioning it to their family? So a lot of our listeners have kids in the business, just like you did. And they're thinking, I want to transition the business to my kids. You did it successfully. So what advice would you have for our listeners that might be thinking about doing the same thing?
Well, my advice would be that, first of all, you got to be sure they're ready to take it over and they're prepared for it. And I felt comfortable that they were. They were well trained. They've been in the business with me all their life. So I felt very comfortable with them getting into leadership because they learned it from me and from my wife, Helen. They grew up doing the same thing and they just continued that. And the biggest challenge was for me to phase out. Was a little harder than it was for them to phase in because I was so used to being in the leadership because I built the company from scratch. So, but we worked together well and we supported each other and we consulted with each other and we had a strong team and a strong family and we love each other. That's a big thing. We're a family.
I love that. So you guys do cabinets, which homes for decades, 60 plus years have had cabinets. But over time, design trends, tastes, what homeowners want has changed. What are you guys doing over at Kountry Kraft to adopt and adapt what the market wants? But staying true to the craftsmanship and the quality, but also being able to implement current design trends. Like, what are some of the things that you guys are doing to adapt to what the market wants?
Well, we listen to the customer. We're here to serve the customer. So we're 100% custom. Our slogan is here, the only limitation is your imagination, your space, and your budget. So if you can, if you're the customer and you come in here and you want something, we will design it, and our people are all well trained. They stay up to date with what's the new trends by the trade magazines and going to trade shows. And we have good suppliers that keep us informed of what new products are on the market. So we try to stay up to date with what's on the market, and we teach our people how to do it. And so it's not that hard if you do it one day at a time.
That's great. So as the company has evolved over time as well, what are some things that you've done to keep good people? A lot of people would say that the current generation struggles with the work ethic that you probably had 60 years ago. So what are some of the things that you're doing to adapt and pivot in that space?
Well, we try to make them feel part of the team. We're a team. And we do profit sharing. We give bonuses. We compliment them for what they're doing. And we encourage people and cheer them on. We try to keep people happy and listen to the employees, listen to their ideas, and that makes them feel like a part of the company. That's why they stay here. They feel appreciated.
Yeah, that's great. So what are you doing to grow new leaders? Let me ask that. So we've got great work ethic. We're training them. We're pouring into them. We're making them feel appreciated. But as the company has grown over the years, I'm sure you've had to train some new leaders. What are some things you've learned along the way when it comes to leadership development?
Well, that's mainly what Dolores and Junior are doing now. They've been doing it for the last 20 years. So they too train people encourage people to become leaders. It's not easy to get people to do exactly what we do, but we have to adapt to new ideas, and I think they've done well in training people to support leadership. Yeah.
That's great. Let me ask something else. So over time, I mean, I saw a picture of that table saw you got for Christmas. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look like the table saw has changed a whole lot in 65 years. But I know that there's been a lot of technology. There's a lot of advanced machinery. You've probably automated the process as you've grown to 100 employees, and probably even some safety things have changed over the last 65 years. So how has that influenced your production and how the company has pivoted over the last few decades?
That has been a big change from the way I started. Like you say, we had simple machinery like table saws, joiners, and routers, and today they have computerized equipment. That started in 1985. My brother got the first Holzma saw, which is a computerized saw. And now Elvin Jr., he bought several since that. Yes, computerized CNC routers, and they have a lot of nice automated equipment. Junior's good at keeping up to date on equipment, and Dolores is up to date on keeping the alphas up to date and the showroom. And so they've done well in keeping the place well equipped to meet today's market.
So let's ask this then. So we're doing great in today's market. We've adopted new technology. We've changed the way we develop leaders and really bring people together and engage them. As you're celebrating over 65 years in business, what are some of your aspirations for the future, or what are Elvin Jr.'s aspirations for the future, and where you guys are going?
Well, that's definitely a challenging time for us right now, since they're also getting up in the age where they're thinking about the third generation. So that's where we're at right now, is looking who is going to be taking over the next step from here. But right now they're still eagerly running every day and doing good, but they're also making plans and for the future.
Do you see any changes in the industry as it relates to cabinet making, or what homeowners and business owners are wanting inside their properties now? Do you see any changes that you're preparing for in the next decade or so?
I don't see a lot of changes other than different materials and different designs, different colors. It's always changing, but nothing unusual. I don't see nothing unusual, but this industry definitely became a fashion furniture instead of just, when I started making cabinets were more for functional use. Put a kitchen in because you need a place to put your utensils and a workspace. You need countertops. But today it's more like a fashion type product. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was looking at some of the pictures of some of the cabinets that you guys have created and installed on your website. And there are some things that I'm like, ooh, that's pretty. I would have that in my office or have that in my kitchen.
Yeah.
So really great stuff. Elvin, I love that you started on the farm in a garage with a table saw you got from your wife for Christmas. And now you're over 100 employees, second generation, now talking about the third generation. And you're still just an influence in the community, and you're able to provide the same quality craftsmanship you have over the last 65 years. You're such an inspiration. For people that are listening to this that want to learn more about you or Kountry Kraft, how can they get in touch with you?
They just got to call me. I can give you my email or my phone number.
Whatever you're comfortable with. We'll have a link to your website in the show notes, but if you want to share with our listeners, I'm sure they won't mind.
Yeah. You want my email?
Sure.
It'd be Elvin Sr at countrycraft.com.
Fantastic. Well, hey, if you're listening out there right now and you were inspired by Elvin's story, or you're thinking about transitioning your company to the next generation, just know it can be done.
Yeah.
In fact, Elvin's about to prove to us it can be done twice. So thank you so much, Elvin, for being on the show. I've learned a lot. I love your story. And as I said before, it's so inspirational.
Ryan England here. Thank you so much for listening to Titans of the Trades. If you're a titan in the construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades industry and would like to be a guest on my show, please visit podcast.corematters.com. If you found value in this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot on your phone and share it with a friend or post it on social. And if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Titans of the Trades. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, click the subscribe button. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and get me one step closer to solving the labor crisis facing the industry. Want to know more about how we're doing that? Go to our website or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.